Hello, my name is Phillip Colglazier, the Executive Artistic Director of the Fort Wayne Civic Theater. And I wanted to answer some questions that were out there. Some of you may have been thinking, how does the Civic Theater select the shows that we produce? And it's a very in-depth kind of process, so I'll try to narrow it down a little bit. First of all, we have an artistic committee, which is comprised of board members and key artistic staff members, marketing as well, and a few other past board members and community individuals as well. And around 14 individuals that help make these decisions. So it's not just me as artistic director, it is truly more of a democratic voting process, if you like, that we go through. And each year we kind of have our big list that we start off with, and of shows that we would like to do or have always wanted to do, and the rights may not be available, meaning the royalty rights, and all of a sudden maybe those come available, and we can add it to the big list and actually consider them, because not all shows are available. Like Phantom of the Opera has not been available for years and still not available. What we do is we start with this big list, and then if there's new shows that come up that are now available, we add them to the big list for consideration, and then we start working through that process. The process is looking at kind of the name recognition. Do we think it will sell? Do we think people will come? What is the cost of doing this type of production? Certain shows are more expensive to produce, either via the costumes or the set demands, the technical demands. And so we have to take all that in consideration. Also, the talent pool. Do we have the capability and the people that can produce these roles? And so, and especially with gentlemen, we have more women that in our community of talent pool, and so doing female shows has more capability. It's hard to do all male shows because there's just not as big as talent pool in that regard, but we have strong talent all the way around for the amount of theater that's being done in the community, because there's other theater groups that are doing shows as well, and our talent pool, we're all pulling from the same talent pool. So there's a lot of competition in that regard. And so during the summers, we can do bigger shows that are have more dancing in them because the kids coming home from college. So tendency for us to do a dance type of show is going to be during the summer for that reason alone. And so when we look at this big list, there's a lot of factors that go into it. We also have to take consideration our schedule with the Arts United Center. The Arts United Center meets on an annual basis with all the arts groups, and we decide what show slots we would like to do. The ballet always gets the December slot because of the Nutcracker, and because the ballet and the youth theater their programming is during the school year, for the kids and their base, and so they have to stay within that time frame of kind of like September through May. So we have to start our season off with the summer, and then we get the outskirts of those times in early September and late May to work within those schedules, and then in between. So it's not like we can say, oh, we want to do a Christmas show in December. Well, it's not available at the Arts United Center. And so we kind of work and then negotiate. And so the ballet may say, well, I'll move this week one way or the other. I can do this week one way or another, or I can cut my rehearsal period short and tighten up my production. So there's a lot of factors that go into this. And so once we get our dates set, then we can start looking at slotting and making certain shows that go in certain time slots. But a lot of times what we do as well is we'll do surveys at this point of our patrons and general public and the talent pool to see which shows they would like to see. And then Once we get that feedback, then we will also then look at where's the best time to put those on the calendar with the time frame that we have. A lot of times we have a short build window period, and that's going to have to be a smaller show, technical wise and set wise, and costume as well. And so that plays into a factor. And then there's generally the summer show or the January, February slot, because we have more time to build the set, then we can do the bigger productions at that point. So that's why you see generally the summer show and our February show that are bigger productions, and that for that fact alone. And so once we start slotting in the dates and we see which is available, and then we pursue getting the royalty rights. And not all rights are available when you request them. Generally what happens with royalty rights, Broadway has it, of course, first and foremost, and then it goes to national touring companies. So you'll see those shows come through the embassy first because they're a touring company. You'll see those companies come through. And then it gets offered to a lot of times to the schools, to the high schools and junior versions before it gets offered to the community theater level. And then it finally comes to us and we get to do those shows and with those permissions. And because we can't just do a show because we want it, we have to have the legal rights and the royalty fees paid in order to do them. We have a great relationship with Music Theater International, and it's now being part of Concord, a royalty company. And once in a while, they'll call us and say, hey, would you like to do the show? We're doing an early release. That's what happened when we got Les Mis. They called us and said, hey, we like what you do, and so we'd love to offer this to you. So, of course, we snapped it up and did it right away. So once in a while, we get those kind of opportunities. And so we put them on the schedule and secure the royalty rights. And then this is actually, we operate, this process is a 2-year in advance. So we're going through all this process, and then we can set the budget for this year so that we've selected. So it all takes place before a season begins. So already we're talking and looking at trying to set the seasons for 1921-22 now, and we're just now beginning our 2021 season. And so it's quite a lengthy process. And what we do is with all these shows and the committee is we do a voting process, and we look at which out of our group of committee members, which show raises to the top. Where's the common interests of our group to produce and to do these shows? And so it's everybody has an equal vote on the committee. And so it's looking at that dynamic, and then we look at balance. The balance of the season. So we don't want to do all shows that have the same kind of theme or style or period. So we try to do shows that are of interest and reflect the dynamic and diversity of our community. So not only plays or musicals and comedies, but as far as diversity as well. And so we really try to make it a balance, so that the 60-year-old plus, my group, hello, it would like something that the younger generation necessarily wouldn't, but we try to find the family show as well. And so we try to create a balance of the season, so we are reflective of our community as well. So that is basically the process, and I appreciate sharing this time with you. And thank you. If you have more questions, let us know. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.